Welcome to the One Mic, One Voice show, Building the Collective Conscience, a show that's created to give space where your voice, ideas, and informed opinions can be heard, appreciated, and debated. I am Michael Eric Owens. Folks, welcome back to the One Mic studio. I just had to come on and do a show. I was prompted by the shooting that happened at the Dollar General store in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm sure you heard about this 21-year-old white male that just 3 days ago, on the anniversary of the 60th commemoration of the March on Washington, where Dr. King gave the iconic speech, "I Have a Dream." So this 21-year-old white male killed 3 black people, shot them in this mass shooting. He's described as a guy that hated black people. Matter of fact, he had 3 manifestos. Man, it's hard to write one manifesto. Here is a guy that had 3. He had one for the press, one for the feds, and one for his parents. And of course, this incident is being treated as a terrorist attack and investigated as a hate crime. I don't even know why we need an investigation. The man left a manifesto that laid out his hatred. At first, he was at an HBCU trying to gun down people, but of course, it was not heavily populated, and students reported him, and a security guard, or I should say a police officer, campus police officer, scared him off the campus. So he went hunting for other black people. Why do people hate? I mean, I think that's the question I want to address. And furthermore, I want to ask you, are you part of the community of hate? I'm going to talk a little bit about the community of hate. Why do we hate? Well, folks, we are socialized into hate. In other words, we are taught how to hate. We are not only taught how to hate, we see hate in action. You see, these are ideas that we are given, taught, observed, and we are manipulated into accepting it as truth, and then we act upon it. What do we mean by socialization? It means you were born into a family, and this family taught you certain things. They passed down certain things that they learned from their own parents, right? So these things that we are taught, we take as being the gospel truth. Why would those who have brought us into this world, raised us, feed us, clothe us, teach us how to hate people? Happens every day. Unfortunately, we are socialized, not just in the home, but outside of the home, in our relationships, whether people are reinforcing hate. Are we being influenced by hate? On our jobs, I don't know. I think sometimes people hear hate and they just simply, they don't agree with it, but they don't say anything about it. So we are socialized into hating, right? And then we act upon that. Then we begin to see the world. We're colored through this lens of hate, right? We're looking at the world through this prism in which we simply hate. We hate. Why would you hate a people that you have no relationship or community with? I mean, that's the craziest thing. I try to be empathetic. I try to lean into the idea of some sort of logic, some sort of rationality in all of this. I can't find it. How do you hate people that you have no relationship with, no community with, folks that have done nothing whatsoever to you, but you've been socialized to hate? Some might even say, well, it's not really your fault because you didn't. You're only, leaning into that which was put into you. You have a responsibility as a human being. As a citizen, you have a responsibility. But believe it or not, hatred is an idea, but it's also an emotion, just like love. To truly understand hatred, you have to understand love. You see, too many in our society have never truly been loved or experienced love. Because what happens when you love? When you love, you support, you cherish, you protect. And oftentimes you find yourself forgiving. We give ourselves to the people we love. We are vulnerable. We trust in them. See, the opposite of that is hate. Hatred comes from a very dark place, from a very dark heart. A heart full of light could never, ever gun down Black people, Jewish people, Hispanic people, Asian people, members of the LGBTQ plus community. No, only a dark and twisted heart could do that. But we see this running rampant in our society today. We've had more mass shootings than we've had calendar days so far. People that belong to the Haters Club are lifelong learners. Remember, I said you're socialized. But in order to keep that hatred going, you have to fuel it. You have to somehow figure out how to maintain it. And with every posting, every news article, every program, they devour this misinformation, which fuels their obsession with hate. Yeah, it's an obsession. Yeah, it's part of their life. It's part of their existence. Matter of fact, if you erase hate from them, they really have no reason to exist, because it is the other that has fueled the very foundation in which they live each and every day. It's diabolical and pathological. Yet they have normalized it through the web, on television, in our politics, in schools and universities across the country and throughout the world. We have normalized hate. We've said, you know what? That's just her opinion. Okay. Oh no, he didn't really mean that. Right? No, I don't. You're just too sensitive. You remember the thing, why do we always have to be politically correct? That's just a smoke screen for, you know what? I'm saying some racist stuff, but you know what? It's just being politically correct, right? And it's feeding to a certain narrative, a certain sort of way of looking at the world. And then we have slogans in our country that reinforce that. Take back our country. Remember President Obama, the birther movement? He's really not from here. Yeah, hate takes all shapes and forms. Folks, it's diabolical because it's evil. It's evil to plot to kill Black people. Think about the planning of that act. Think about this young 21-year-old man when he put on all his tactical gear, when he checked his weapons, when he went driving, knowing what he was going to do. Let's back up. Let's talk about when he wrote his manifestos. And then when he got to that campus, now I got to find somewhere else. Let me go where people are really the most vulnerable. They're just shopping. They're just trying to buy some goods to get home to feed their family. Now, we know that most Dollar Generals our patrons are middle class, you know, some might even say poor. So he went to a place where folks were most vulnerable. Think about his mentality when he got out the car. Diabolical, evil. It's pathological too, folks, because it is a disease that is almost always fatal. You see, hate destroys not just other people, but it destroys yourself. And you know how much energy it takes to hate? How consuming hate is. It destroys the individual. But few people are ever cured from it. Trust me. You see, to cure it, you need a different type of doctor, a doctor of truth, the unrelenting crusader of truth. And very few exist today because the truth is too costly. It's too costly, folks. Too costly. But listen, this is what I need for you to do, though. I need for you to go ahead and hit that like and that subscribe button and that notification button so that you can get all of this content. And I know this content is kind of heavy today, but we got some heavy things happening all around us. And I'm not the type of cat to dip my head in the sand and to say, hey, it doesn't affect me. Because it does. It absolutely does. Those were Black people. Those were people who look like me. I go to Dollar General. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, man. Like, I'm on my way home. You know, we have a couple of them out where I live, and I'm like, let me just grab something right quick. And what happens? We have a person that is bent on killing people. You see, hate is not a silent killer, as some people would like to think. Hate doesn't sneak up on you. It grows in you. And the older you get, the deeper it grows inside of you. The wider it gets, the more breadth, the the enormity of hate, because hate needs something to fuel it, to feed it. It's all consuming until your whole world is or revolves around hatred. So what is the community of hate? Because, you know, again, I'll say you need to feed it. So what is this community of hate? You see, in the past, we had local hate was localized. It was the KKK, and, you know, it was a movement. It was white nationalism. Hate can even be seen as a person in Donald Trump. It's a system of slavery, convict leasing, Jim Crow, sundown towns, lynching, redlining, policing, mass incarceration, and so forth, just to name a couple. So hatred has moved from being localized to a movement, to a person, to a system. However, today, all of those things I mentioned are comprised of the community of hate. They have coalesced across the web from all walks of life to organize, disseminate, perpetuate acts of violence and hatred toward those or anyone that's outside of their community. If you're paying close attention, you will realize that this is what always kills me about white supremacists or white nationalist folks. They say they love the white race. They say it's nothing wrong with trying to preserve one's race. But the white people that disagree with them, that don't see eye to eye, the white brothers and sisters that identify with minorities in the struggle for equality and equity and opportunity, they hate them. So they're really not for the betterment of the white race. They're just for people that look like them and believe like them. It's not discrimination or racism or sexism or xenophobia that's destroying us, folks. It's hatred. You see, all of these things I just mentioned are rooted in hate. You can't have sexism if you don't look at women as simply being objects and less than men, right? How can you have discrimination if you think all people are equal? You have to think that people are less. You can't be a xenophobe if you believe that everyone has the right to choose who they love. You have to be against that. You have to despise that. And trust me, hate is going out of his way to target those they hate. They're going out of their way. They're going to places. This guy didn't live in that community. Let's go back to Dylan Roof, South Carolina, in the church. Emmanuel Baptist, right? Wasn't it? Went into the church and killed people. Went out of his way. No, you might say, well, I'm living a good life and I'm over here and I just don't get into that sort of thing. Hate can find you. Pulse nightclub. We see what happened in Vegas at the concert. Hate can find you. Oklahoma City, Timothy McVeigh. Hate can find you. We all must be concerned about the growing rate of hate in our country. But I want to say this to you, though. What must we do? Now, my answer to that is a very simple answer. Matter of fact, you might even accuse me of touting platitudes. But I think someone much older and wiser than I am would probably say something like this. We simply need to love and to teach our children how to love each other. We need to stop wasting time, folks. Stop wasting your time on those who reside in the community of hate. And maybe I'm talking about some of your relatives, some of your friends. They shouldn't be your friends. Anyone that hates, I can't have no relationship with you. I'm just gonna keep it real. If you know me, I can't deal with hate. No, not in my life. If you have so-called friends that are using racist language, talking about immigrants like they're nothing, blaming everything on everyone else, never looking in the mirror at themselves, I'm going to suggest to you that you take another look at the circle of people that are around you. You see, if you're a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a mentor to kids or young people, show them and teach them how to love and how to love each other, how to sacrifice for each other, how to be empathetic toward others. This is an idea. Teach them how to be humble. Teach them that they don't have to be the center of attention. Teach them that it's great just to be part of something. bigger than themselves. Teach them to be sensitive and vulnerable. Yeah, I hear people say, man, Mike ain't hard enough. Mike's soft. Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'd rather be a man that is true to who he is and how he feels than a man that pretends to be something he is simply not. The only hope we have is to attack this infection at birth. At birth. Because people are born into the community of hate. We've already talked about the socialization process. So when we teach kids to love each other, again, to be empathetic, sensitive, vulnerable, to be part of something bigger than themselves, children will reciprocate that which we put in them. They're your mini me. We hear that. That's my mini me, right? Yeah, they are. They want to be like you. They want to please you. But see, we can twist that. That's how hate works. Because I may even feel it's wrong, but I'm trying to please my daddy. I'm trying to please pops. I'm trying to please my mother. Now, hate is hate. And we all must stand against this. So the only hope we have is to attack this from the beginning. Attack the babies, to teach them the right way to live, because these are generational curses, folks. Folks are handed down hate. And you see this long legacy of this embedded hatred. And at the present moment, people don't even know why they hate. My father hated blacks. His grandfather hated blacks. And his grandfather. Yeah, we had slaves. So yeah, we hate blacks. But I don't really know why I hate blacks, because I don't know any. I don't have any relationship with any. Oh man, it's so disheartening because it's so simple, right? We were put on this earth for each other. That's why people are born. That's why there's not just one person, right? One person born on each continent, right? No, we are here for each other. The only way to save this country and to save the people of this country, folks, we must save them from destroying themselves, because history will speak of us. Somewhere in the distant future, a scribe will reach down deep into the archives of our time, and what will she find? Will she discover that we overcame our differences? Will she find that out of many we became one? Or will she find that we solved nothing and remain a divided peoples? Yes, history will speak of us.